Oh, cheers. Muscle Nation Protein Water, come sponsor me, please. But Tackles and Tinnies viewers, we are back. It's been like, I don't know, 2 months, Chris. What do you reckon?
Brian, my brother from a different mother. No, it's been 2 months. Hey, it has been. Actually, it's been three. You
Yeah,
know,
last school
grand final was in
holidays.
September. Yeah,
Crazy,
but good to
man.
be back.
Mate, like, we've missed so much. We're meant to do the grand final wrap up, and then school holidays from term three happened. I was away, and then everything just went to shambles. But there's so much to talk about. But Tackles and Tinnies listeners, I still just want to, before we get into the pod and what's going to be happening for today's episode and for the preceding future, Tackles and Tinnies, we're just going to go popping off for next year. We're obviously experimenting with different hosts. Chris, you made the cut. Good job, mate. I saw Gary this morning. Obviously, with Physio Corner and stuff will be coming back for 2026. More importantly, Supercoach is 4 days away now, Chris. Unreal. So you're going to get your Supercoach content coming back for 2026. Our boy Adam, hopefully number one next year. Apparently, he's not touching team picket of February because the addiction is real. But hey, you got to feed the addiction somehow. So I'll be there day one, and maybe Chris, we can talk about Supercoach first up before we get into everything else. But in regards to Tackles and Tinnies, in regards to socials, Chris will mainly be doing just rugby league and the Supercoach side of things. But I'm going to get other boys involved, like, Jake, Andy, Adam, of course. We've got some other boys like Sam and Randall. They're keen to jump on board here and there regarding some other topics, whether that's movies, other sports like NBA, culture. You guys have been seeing me hitting some gym stuff. I'm going to be posting some of that today as well. Not going to brag, Chris, but yesterday I got a 1RM PB for my back squat yesterday, 155 kilos. Thank you. Hold your applause.
Incredible, incredible.
Yes, I did not squish myself, so that's obviously good. But yeah, Tackles and Tinnies going to be popping off. Content's going to be getting around. So again, guys, we want to hear you guys through social media. We want you guys to tell your mates. Obviously, that's going to help Chris and I get more exposure. And we will be going to Magic Round, Chris. Before I tell the Magic Round story, who is obviously you're the West Tigers, so good job. What are your thoughts for Magic Round for the West Tigers? Are you going to be doing the claw one more time?
Oh, for sure. I can't wait to notch up another win at Magic Round in 2026. I'm playing against the Sea Eagles. Tommy Turbo's Dicky knees.
Yeah.
I think we can notch up a win. Hopefully.
Yeah. You and Josh Randall, mate, you both can be sitting next to each other, and someone's going to be sinking beers, and the other one's just going to be, I don't know, probably walking out of the stadium in absolute disheartened. So,
Oh, it's gonna be the highlight. One of the highlights of my year next year. I'm excited to sit next to him. It's gonna be good.
the banter will be real. So, back to the Tinnies, I'll tell a little story. So, Magic Round, me being a school teacher, I'm just like anally organized. I'm like 8 to 10 months in advance, not even probably longer. It's probably a year in advance. I'm like, okay, May. It's going to be in May. It's going to be the Labor Day long weekend, so which would be May 1st to May 4th. So I got accommodation booked 12 months in advance. I found like a motel right on Fortitude Valley. I'm like, perfect spot. We can go out for beers after or hang out, whatever. Stadium's only 10 minutes away. We're sweet. Labor Day long weekend. Again, NRL likes to fuck us over, and that's 3 years in a row they've changed the date on us. They're keeping everyone guessing. But it wasn't Labor Day long weekend. When they did the draw, they decided to put it on May 14th to May 17th. That was a bit of a hurdle, Chris, because obviously I'm lucky I wake up early because the early bird gets the worm. I went onto booking.com and my God, guys, there'll be properties still available. Go onto booking.com, have a look for May 15th to 17th, which is the 3-day pass, which is what we're doing. My God, I went on there at 5:30 in the morning when the news dropped. $50,000, $25,000, $35,000. I'm like, are you kidding? It's like a 2-bedroom apartment. I need bloody 10 rooms for the amount of boys I've got going. And then I zoomed in, and there it was. Where our accommodation is, the prices haven't changed yet because they haven't been awake. I'm like, you beauty. I booked I think 17 rooms. I booked more than I needed. I was just so excited. I'm like, boys, we're on. Okay, fast forward to what now be 2 weeks ago. We're at school. Okay, we're going to Wet and Wild for our like end of year breakup. And I'm like, okay, boys, who's in for Magic? I need one final check. We currently had 13 boys in the group chat. Jake drops out. Adam drops out. Brownie drops out. And then Corey's like, oh, they're dropping out. I'm dropping out. I'm like, what the hell? Sam last minute dropped out from 13 or 14 boys, and we got down to like 5 boys, and I left the group chat. I raged. I just like,
You're upset. You're upset. I could tell.
Bro, I was pissed. I was so mad. I was in the bed, like everyone's just like, I can't go anymore, or they're not going, I'm not going, too expensive, whatever. I was like, F this. I was like, went upstairs. I'm like, Laura, I left the group chat. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I've quit. I'm not going to Magic Round. She's like, Ryan, there's like 5 other boys who are keen. Chris is keen. Randall was keen. Like Gaz, Morgs are keen, whatever. I was like, okay, I just need to breathe, but I'm not going. I'm pissed off. I'm not going. And then I got on the bus at school, going to Wet and Wild. I was like, okay, I'll message Chris. Chris didn't message me back. I'm like, Chris, I'm assuming you're going. You're in. Tick. I messaged Gary. I messaged Robert. I'm like, boys, you guys still keen? Yeah, we're in. So we're up to 4 people. Message Randall, and he's like, I will go if we can play golf. I'm like, done. I can organise that. We can play some golf. Tick. We're up to 5.
Great dealing, really.
And then Corey, I'm like, message Corey. Didn't respond after 10 minutes. I'm like, this is a hard deadline. So the tickets opened at 10 o'clock for a Titans member. I'm like, okay, I need a definitive answer. Corey's not messaged me back. I'm like, standard Corey, so bloody inefficient. Called Corey. Corey, mate, what's happening? He's like, I don't know. Is everyone going Magic Round? I don't know what's happening. I'm like, Corey, you're coming to Magic Round. Randall's back in. Chris is in. Gaz is in. It's going to be a good time. He's like, all right, you've got me. I said I was going to go. I'll go. So we got to 6 people. Got to Wet and Wild, and it was like 9:55. I'm like, okay, surely they're going to let us in early to like get everyone through the gate because we went through like a secret back entrance for the school kids. Gates weren't open. I'm like, I'm on my laptop. I've got hotspot with like 50,000 people, it felt like, trying to get into this thing. I'm like, the Wi-Fi is going to be so trash. And I was like, okay, 10 o'clock hits. I'm walking with my laptop. I'm hoping my hotspot holds on. I like found a seat, sat down. I was entering like the special code that the Titans sent me to get through the gate. And obviously, so many people have gone through on the ticketing site. I was like number like 500, and after like 30 seconds, I got in. Okay. And after last year's fiasco, I probably haven't told you this, Chris, but last year, like trying to get tickets wasn't as hard, but I couldn't get like, obviously after day 1, we got our seats and then we got split up day 2 and day 3. I learned from that mistake. I was like, okay, I actually got to reselect the seats because I had to do 2 separate bookings last year. This year, I only have to do 1 booking because less people, wasn't 8 people more. So each day I was clicking the seat, or hang on, click the seats for day 1, day 2 and 3. I couldn't select the seat. It was like bugged out because there's so many people on there. I was like, what the heck? Okay. Refresh the page. And then that cooked me. And I was like essentially locked out for 5 minutes. So I was like, shit. It's like 7 past 10. Can't get on. Did the same thing. Couldn't select any days. Couldn't select day 1. Couldn't select day 2, day 3. It was like saying it was sold out, even though it was like hundreds of seats available in like sections. Like you could book 8 at a time, whatever. It was like seats available here, there. Couldn't book it. I was like, shit. Tried refreshing the page again. Opened up another browser. Opened up like Edge. Opened up fucking Firefox. I was on every single browser you can imagine trying to get in. Couldn't get in. Locked out again because it was on my Ticket Tech account. It was like, got to 20 past. I was in the group chat and I was like, boys, we're cooked. There's no seats available. We're not going to Magic Round. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it one more time. And I got in and I was like, we're Friday night, we're like right behind the post. I'm like, sweet. And then all of a sudden, the seats I could have got originally were like pretty much the same area. Nah, now we're like top right corner, and then we're like middle left corner for day 3. So, Chris, long story short, we got tickets. Was it stressful? Yes. And I realized in my stupidity, and for the probably 30 people who listen to this through the long form, I might keep it as a secret in the long form only. Might clip this up for a little short clip to get more viewers. But the cheat code is you just buy the 4-day pass. Do you know what the price difference is, Chris?
Tell me.
$20.
Wow.
So
Wow.
obviously, you're guaranteed to pretty much get any seat you want.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get people through the stadium for the Women's Origin. For $20 more, you're pretty much going to get the bottom tier for the $20 extra with no stress. So for the people listening and you want to go Magic Round, that is the cheat code. Pay the extra $20, get the 4-day pass, go to the Origin maybe if you want to. For me, logistically too hard. But yeah, buy the 4-day pass, pay the extra $20 and do yourself a favor and you'll save a lot of stress. As a teacher, I hope you learnt something because that is the ChatGPT cheat code for beating the system at Suncorp. So, Chris, did you understand any of that?
I did. But now that everybody knows, will we be getting tickets to a Magic Round in 2027 now?
Well, we have to, mate, because Titan's going to be top 4 by then. So, wishful thinking.
Hey, they're a team on the up. And we'll be talking about that.
We will be talking about that. Funny enough, Chris, we haven't done a grand final debrief. So, I think we just get sort of straight into that. So, Broncos. What a roller coaster of emotions from last year. Obviously, we've been through Supercoach. We went through their semi-final run against the Raiders and the Panthers. Both sort of come back behind or underdog story wins, but particularly that Raiders game where they lost 3 times in a row. Panthers, clinical, obviously with the send-off. I mean, the sin binning, whatever. What were your thoughts on the grand final against the Melbourne Storm?
Oh, it was a great grand final, wasn't it? Right. I think honestly, it probably was just the Reece Walsh throw, and I think the moment was, 10 minutes from half time, that Broncos are down 16-6 and the Storm have just scored 3 tries and they've got all the momentum and he's just run for everybody to score underneath the sticks and he just put the team on his back, and he was great. What did you think about his performance?
Oh, again, I think it was just absolutely spectacular. I think it was one of the absolute all-time performances, if not the greatest of all time. I think it was me, you, and Adam on a podcast maybe before the Raiders game, and we talked about purple patches, about the Ben Barber, about the Jared Hayne, about the Tom Trbojevic, Nathan Cleary runs that people had, and we said the golden form or the purple patch of form that if Reece Walsh could win the grand final, which he did, was it the greatest stretch of all time? I think now, and he did an 80-minute performance, which is obviously the biggest thing. It was unreal. Obviously, his attack and his involvement, his sweep plays, wanting the ball, his defensive reads, which he was always getting pinned for, and those big moments that he wanted, that's what was the defining factor. And I think that's a legacy-defining result for Reece Walsh. And I just want to give him all the roses and all the praise because he delivered on the biggest stage essentially for 5 weeks in a row because Broncos had to win to get top 4. And obviously they came from behind for the Raiders, had that awesome little stretch for 50 minutes against the Panthers, and then obviously 80-minute performance against the Storm. Personally, Chris, my opinion, best purple patch of all time. Do you agree?
Look, there very little disagreement from me. I know earlier this season I called him roller coaster Reece, because he's so up and down and everything like that. But you're totally right. That performance was just right up there with Cleary's 2023 antics. Some of those criticisms that we've had against him. For example, his lack of defense. He scores tries, but he lets more in. You think back to that tackle against Paps. 30 seconds to go in the grand final. Eli Katoa's just made a break and then he passes to Paps and then, he's also mowed down Pappy, I think about 2 minutes before when he makes a break as well. And, and he's done that flick pass, to Will Warbrick and Will Warbrick's knocked the ball on, unfortunately, so yeah. And, I think it really cements his legacy for sure. You often have to win the premiership, to be considered a legend, and in the NBA, if you don't win a championship, it's always it's a tag against you, and it's also that it's not just the way, it's not just that he's won it. he was the man, and like, nobody can ever take it away from him. So, it's the stuff you dream about. It's
Yeah.
like hitting a last minute, last second buzzer beater. And so, definitely, I'd have no disagreements about being, hey, pretty much best purple patch, of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also just to bring this up as well, the Broncos as well. They went on such a hot streak. If you remember back in round 13, and they got absolutely destroyed by the Sea Eagles, 34-6. They then went on a 14-1 run to finish the entire season. Yep, they lost once against the Eels, and that was in round 21.
When was the triple hamstring? What game was that? What round?
I cannot remember. I can't even remember who they were playing against.
We'll
I just know they won.
We'll get some research on the fly there. But while you look that up for me, Chris, if you don't mind, there's some other guys I want to shout out. And obviously they've been through the heartache of the wooden spoon, but Payne Haas in particular, and the leadership and the hardworking grunt of Patrick Carrigan. Those two boys, were so good to see them embrace post-game. Payne Haas, he's the GOAT of the front rowers, or a forward of all time. He's the best forward of all time, without a doubt. Arguably could be the best player of all time for his particular role. Unreal. So good to see. And Patrick Carrigan, back in the day, we used to, when they had their wooden spoon run, people were throwing all the wooden spoons onto the field, and Patrick Carrigan and Payne Haas were embracing. They were just absolute babies at the time, like early 20s, maybe in their teenage years. But now it was so good to see them embrace post-game when they won, and all that hard work and grit and playing through injury, playing at Origin, and being leaders of that pack coming from the bottom to the top. That's what you love to see. And it's great storybook and storytelling for the NRL. And they've deserved all the flowers and praise that they're getting as well. And what do you think about the Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan? Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Oh, yet again, great narrative, really. And they deserve all the flowers that they get, really. Every week they, this whole season, in terms of people who were consistent, from round one all the way to grand final, Paddy Carrigan and Payne Haas, just the meters that they ate up, just to put the Broncos on the front foot. I mean, I should also say as well, without forwards, your backs just can't shine at all. So I think that, great. Yeah, they are standout performers. And now the question is, can the Broncos retain Payne Haas for next season? He was supposed to go to Rugby 360, and obviously now, because that's been delayed to 2028, can they keep him? Especially because the Broncos have signed Carrigan, Walsh, Ezra Mam, Katoni Staggs are very, very expensive deals. Is there enough space to retain Payne Haas in the cap?
I think 1.2, 1.3 he will get. And I think he will take a little bit unders. He's got family. Well, he's got both his parents are in jail, but all his young siblings, he's the breadwinner. He's obviously got a young kid himself, uprooting his family and going around the world. That'd be pretty big, especially with his siblings that he's looking after. And I think just creating that legacy at home, he's already done so. Like, he's achieved everything, obviously. But I just think the uprooting, I think like going to Perth Bears, for example, is too much. It's too many chess pieces to move around the board. And I've just looked up, Chris. Ironically, it was Melbourne versus Broncos.
Yes, round 2023. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the triple hamstring injury. So that was that's crazy. So, and obviously we forgot to mention too in the grand final about Renault and Ben Hunt both going down at separate periods of the game, which obviously puts more pressure on Reece Walsh. So kudos to him. Corey Pakes and Tyson Smoothie, they obviously did very, very well. Both boys were out of favour last year, and then Madge coming in. I think. What do you think about Madge Maguire? We didn't need to talk about him. Obviously, he's quite polarising as a coach. He's my way, the highway, but in probably the last 10 years, probably less, 8 years, Origin win at Suncorp for a game 3. He was a New Zealand World Cup coach, whatever, and won that. Obviously, Broncos. He's a Rabbitohs. He's
Yep,
got
on the Rabbitohs.
great resume. Great
Mm.
resume. Probably missing a couple things there, obviously. But what are your thoughts on Madge?
I, I, I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. He was much malaligned during this year. Especially on NRL 360, they had a lot of doubts about him. About being too hard on all the players, but he, I think you have to give him credit where credit's due. Because he sees things that other people just did not. I think the best example was Gemma Matt, Shibasaki. He's just a park player, and all of a sudden this year, Queensland centre, to get, to find out, to have, Billy Walters, they put him in at 5'8", and that was also really, really good until he did his ACL. Yeah, and he's, they've convinced, Grant Anderson to join them next year. Like, this team just really only gets stronger for next year, really. And another thing as well, his ability to turn Reece Walsh around when, he was out of form at the beginning of the season, nobody wants to pick him at, Queensland fullback, I think Madge has a lot to do with it. And I think also, Reece Walsh also credits Madge, for that turnaround as well. So yeah, he's a bloody good coach.
We're putting you on the spot here. Where would you put Madge in terms of coaches in the NRL right now if you had to give a ranking?
Oh, definitely top three for sure.
Yeah.
I think you put Cleary, Ricky Stewart, and Madge up there. And he's one of those, and I think he's now one of those coaches now where you give him tenure. He's one of those ones. It's like Ricky now. He's now won multiple premierships. And as you said, you just talked about that glittering resume he has. He can now do whatever he wants. I think he could have a couple of losing seasons and he's still allowed to stay. Nobody can fire him. And I think that the Broncos could do a lot worse than having him.
Yep. So Tackles Tinnies viewers, we're going to be doing 17 mini pods essentially. We're going to break down every single team on separate episodes. So I want to give away 2 minute sneak previews and peeks for each team. But definitely keep an eye out for that. But yeah, we'll be posting that probably by the new year. Definitely by the new year. So again, keep your eyes out for the mini segments coming up soon. So that's the 2025 season in regards to the Broncos. Tantalizing performance. So many aspirational players. Obviously, the Ben Hunt redemption story we could talk about with the drop ball and then coming back full circle and getting that field goal to get him to the next round. And then obviously he hurts himself in the grand final with Renault and then the young fellas picking up the slack. Unreal. But again, we'll talk about Broncos later on. I want to talk about the Perth Bears, and obviously there's things we can talk about in regards to some players coming in, which is cool, some of the history regarding them, but there's not too many signings at the moment. Probably some of the biggest ones is Toby Sexton and Liam Henry. I think Sexton, obviously being as a Titans member, probably got rid of him too early. Very stable hand. Bulldogs, similar thing. Very steady ship. I think whoever accompanies him, you need someone who's going to be a bit more off the cuff. He's a very much conservative halfback. You need someone like not saying Cameron Munster per se, but Cameron Munster-esque in regards to their playing style. That's the type of guy that the Perth Bears needs. I'm hearing murmurs about Matty Burden. I'm hearing murmurs about potentially Munster if they throw big money at him. Don't know. Time will tell. I missed saying that one. Time will tell. Obviously, there's another signing that they've got in Isaac Fussell Malawi, trying to get Tino across. No chance. Tino's staying. He's loyal to a fault. Tino, I know you're watching. I know you're listening. You're staying. What are your thoughts on the Perth Bears, Chris? Anything to add?
Yeah, look, I like how they're going about their business. I like Mao, winningest coach, of all time in Origin.
Yes.
I really like the Sexton signing, really. I know there's a lot of questions about whether he's good enough, as you said, he's very conservative, but I think it's hard to tell because I think he was in a system at the Doggies and it's a very, very similar situation, for example, where, Lockie Galvin, he doesn't look as good right now. He didn't look very great, in 2025, but I think it's just a case of being the system. And he reminds me a lot of Jonathan Thurston back in 2004. It was a playmaker at the Doggies, very conservative, told not good enough. He goes to the Cows and he makes his position his own. And like Thurston, Thurston had growing pains at the Cows, so you kind of have to reserve a bit of judgment, even if Sexton doesn't come out super hot in 2020 when he starts playing. I think you have to reserve the judgment. It'll be hard, new team, so much media scrutiny, but I really, really like it. And the fact that they've picked, a fairly young spine, no mad big superstars. I like how they've recruited. I think that the template is the Dolphins.
Yes.
You recruit hard-nosed players. They just work hard, like Liam Henry.
Yes.
And then you kind of, and then you just, they're not expected to win. So that's why I think it's great that, Sexton's there, and, if he does really well, and he really, really blooms, brilliant. And if they don't, then so be it. But, there's a good chance you could just, it's like the Finns, you blood young halves like Izzy Katoa, and, and all of a sudden you've got a, potential future, New South Wales fullback.
Yep.
So yeah, I like it. I like what they're doing very much. And I agree with you. I do think that, it'd be great if they had, Cameron Munster or something like that. But I would much rather you spend your money on just trying to recruit players who really want to play in the NRL and just really, really just put their nose down and just work hard. You're going to grind out wins at some point. Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree, man. I'm just having a quick little read here about the junior base. So they have a partnership with the North Sydney Bears. So WA Junior Growth, the Western Australia Rugby League already has a solid junior base with a new NRL team coming through. Yeah, so that was my main thing, because obviously it's more AFL, correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, in WA. I think that obviously, like, same with PNG coming in 2028, I think they're just going to have problems getting people to come. It's just not the most desirable spot. For me, I'm not a professional athlete. I like to think I'm somewhat competent, but I know if I have to travel for sport, it's never optimal. And obviously, potentially, they could have a base somewhere, potentially even on the Gold Coast, sort of like the midway point. But if you have to travel that, what is it, 5 hours to Perth, Chris? I don't know. Correct?
4 hours. 4 hours.
Yeah.
I've been on that flight. I think I went, from Melbourne to Perth and back. It's long. It's a long time being cramped. Yeah. A seat. Yeah,
and obviously NRL players, they're big boys, so it's like obviously they're trying to get business class or whatever, but yeah, not optimal, and that's what we talk about here in this podcast. Optimal. So if I'm a top of the line athlete, unless you're paying me stupid overs, like let's say I'm Matt Burton, okay, at the Dogs, I might be on 800 to at the very most 1.2 mil. If I'm Perth Bears, you might have to throw 1.2 to 1.5. Okay, because again, you've got that new team tax, you've got the uncertainty tax, and you've got the logistics tax. So all these things work against you, and the PNG Commonwealth, they're going to have the exact same hurdles to overcome. With the Dolphins, I think they had a little bit easier. Fantastic junior base because the club's been around forever, and obviously it's in Brisbane, well, just outside Brisbane. So yeah, time will tell, mate. Time will tell. You got anything else to add for Perth Bears?
Yeah, no, look, even I would say that I think that it was great that you brought up the AFL teams, because the Dockers and West Coast have been very successful. I mean, probably not the last few years, but they've been, like the Eagles have won so many have won so many premierships, and they fly back and forth, with no issues at all. And actually, the research will actually show you when you fly from the West Coast to the East Coast, you actually end up playing better because you move time zones earlier. And so when you play, your body will, athletes actually play better a little bit later in the day, around 6 o'clock or so. So if a lot of the games, and you go to Melbourne, you go to Sydney, and they end on a Saturday afternoon, that's when they'll do really well. Like especially that 3 p.m. Saturday game, they'll be a lot better. Because compared to everybody who's, the team that plays in Sydney, their body clock is at 3 p.m. But the Perth Bears, their body clock will be at 5 p.m. And so they have that slight tactical advantage. It's something that the NBA players, that they found in that as well. When you go from the West Coast to the East Coast, they win a lot more. Yeah, but it's not. But it's the opposite when they go the other way. Yeah.
Yes, true. I'm on there right now. So it's 7. So we're recording at 9:51 a.m. So it's 7:51 a.m. right now. So yeah, that's a good point, mate. It's a good point. Didn't think about that. But again, screw commuting. So I'd rather go 1 hour. I'd rather go 1 hour. I'd rather go 1 hour. But I guess, hey, the New Zealand Warriors, they're very similar. They've got to go. They've got an international bloody airport. So that's a own hurdle on its own there. But yeah, Perth Bears, as signings come around, guys, we'll break the news. And obviously, you got other media outlets to do the exact same thing. But obviously, we'll chuck our 2 cents in here and there. But not many signings yet. But I think in the coming months before pre-season, we'll get some more news on regards to that, especially with guys not getting offered new contracts. So we talked about the Bears. Now I want to talk about speculation of an extended bench. And I love this idea. So currently we have a 17-man team with 4 people on the bench. And then we have an 18th man. 18th man can only be activated with foul play with a HIA, for example, or with, I think, 3 head highs in a game. I love the idea of having 21 players, or the idea of having 19 players. I'd love that. Okay. We're getting to the stage now, and it really pisses me off that and a second rower, I'll put it this way, a second rower going into the centers, some guys can do it okay, a la Kirk Capewell, a la Bo Thermal. Is it optimal? No. Do they do a job? Yes. Are they scoring many tries out of that side? No. If I was a halfback, would I rather pass it to Brian Kelly? Probably not. But Brian Kelly or I'm kidding. Love you, Brian Kelly. Redemption 2026. But you get the idea. Who would you rather pass to? Okay. I'd rather pass it to a definitive outside back. But now with the opportunity with the extended bench, you can get your 3 middle forwards. You can get an edge back rower. You can get an out-and-out halfback. You can get a hooker. You can get a fullback. Unreal. Love that idea.
Ryan, would you like, just for the listeners, just to explain what this extended bench actually is?
Okay.
As well.
Yeah, of course. So, 21 players, and I've definitely seen different variations of this. So, for example, if you use a player, they might not be able to come back onto the bench. So, for example, if I'm Tino and I come back off, I might not be able to come back on. Don't like that. You might only be able to activate 4 out of the 21 players. So it's more game plan specific. I like that variation more. So, for example, a halfback goes down. Normally, the utility player, whether it's like a hybrid outside back or a hooker, they normally jump into the halves. But you might have a guy like, let's say, Mitchell Woods or Kobe Black. These young guys coming through at the Raiders or the Dogs. Yeah, you get one of these guys coming into the field, but they might not get game time for a specific game. Let's just say, for example, Kobe Black's number 21 on the bench, and Saunders and Ethan Strange, they don't get injured. Kobe Black will not play that game. However, Saunders goes down. All of a sudden, the 21st man comes onto the field, being Kobe Black. That's a halfback for a halfback. In regards to the game flow, there's not much of a loss. Obviously, the quality of the player, you'd assume that the person starting is better, but at least the tactician and the game plan is going to be relatively the same. I love that. But again, the variation that I like the most, you have 21 players, you can only use 4 of those players.
Yep. So basically that proposal, what you're saying is to double the interchange bench from 4 players to 8 players, and then you just choose 4 players.
Yes.
Yep.
So more game specific.
Way, yeah. And you can have specialist cover for specialist injuries, really. Yeah.
You see what do
you... Huh?
Yeah. What do you think in regards to like injuries?
Yeah. Like, what do you think about the idea of, these younger, especially halfbacks, actually, these younger halfbacks like Kobe Black, do you think that it's good that they sit on an extended bench and then don't, or do you think that they should be playing more like reserve grade instead?
Personally, reserve grade. I think these guys are probably looking at more like fringy type Q cut players, or probably going to be more buried on the bench, but you want your guys who are the next man up type players, e.g. Kobe Black. It could be more a guy like, let's say Broncos, for example. You got a guy like Jesse Arthurs. He's been 18th man for like 5 games in a row because Karapani took his spot. The perfect outside back replacement for the Broncos on the bench. Okay, you can get like an older forward, for example. It could be like before Marty Tapau got dropped, for example. Perfect. Okay, he's your out and out extra forward on the bench. You got a guy like Josh Rogers. Okay, he's probably like 5th or 6th in line in regards to the halves, but he can do a job and he's not really going to impact the development of a younger player, but he's a guy you can instantly go in and get a job, or like a Jock Madden type player. They're a fringy type player, but they're probably number 4 or 5 in the depth chart, not the next man up. I think the next man up needs to get reps.
Yep.
Especially if they're younger. Maybe if they're like middle age in their prime, fair enough. Probably don't need it. But yeah, next man up definitely need, like young guys definitely need to get development, particularly if you're a half and a fullback, I think, because obviously that linking role. But I heard guys who I've spoken to who are semi-professional, if not professional players, and they're young guys and they get buried on the bench and they don't get minutes, and they would rather play Q Cup.
Yep. That's my concern. Yeah. So I think that's actually very measured. Yeah. You don't have, your actual up and coming half, get stuck on the extended bench, but rather, it may be that, the backup to them that gets put on just in case. There are a lot of NRL coaches who really, really like this idea for the extended 21-man squad. And, I think Ivan Cleary said something about like he thinks that, it'd be good because you could have like tactical replacements, based on like the game situation, it's like, hey, we need an injection of somebody super, super quick, all of a sudden, like a Trey Fuller that just randomly comes in. Now you don't have to waste I guess a forward spot, something like that. It could be like a bit like baseball almost, like where you have like a relief pitcher. Like, can you think of, not to put in your spot, can you think of any like situations where like that might be a really, really like good idea? Like to inject somebody like that?
Yeah, mate. Look at the final series. You're down 6 to 10 points, like the Raiders game, for example. Got a guy, let's say obviously Reece Walsh came back on, but let's just say, for example, Trey Fuller came on the field with Reece Walsh. You got those two guys working hand in hand. Tell you what, if I'm a defensive line, I'd be shitting bricks if I had to look at Trey Fuller coming off the bench fresh after 60 hard minutes of professional rugby league of 27 rounds. He's the type of guy that would be great. Dane Laurie, who you mentioned before, would be fantastic. Yeah, some little zippy speedster like a Jai Gray for the Rabbitohs if he doesn't get starting fullback spot. Yeah, as you said, we talked about you had 8 people on the bench and only 4 can play. I kind of like the idea of 5.
Yep. I don't. I also don't disagree with that. There,
Which
I
is
know.
like an 18th man, essentially.
Yeah. Actually, and I think that actually makes a lot of sense. Because in a game where something's evenly matched, you may not have. There might not be any tactical replacements. Something like that. But like in a situation where, you're 30 minutes in, and all of a sudden you're running over. You can see that the opponent's forwards are super tired. That's a great time to maybe to inject somebody like a Trey Fuller who probably wouldn't normally play, and you stick him in, he'll just find holes everywhere. So yeah, it's an interesting proposal. Obviously, none of this is confirmed yet, Ryan, but I don't disagree with it. But in terms of, I guess, now since we're talking about rule changes, if you were to get a rule change, what rule would you like changed next year for 2026? Do you have one?
The interchange one's probably been on my mind in the past couple of days, obviously due to the news cycle. We could talk about the dropout rule. We could talk about the kickoff rule. We could talk about the scrum ruling.
How would you like to improve the bunker? Do you think we can improve the bunker? Should we be giving the bunker more autonomy, or should we be limiting what they do? Because I think a lot of people have upset about it.
Bro, bring back 2 refs on the field. Personally.
Yeah.
Why the hell did we get rid of that? I thought it was pretty good. Like, and gives less pressure to the other ref. Like, they can work hand in hand. You look at the NBA, it's a third of the speed, and they've got 3 refs. Why are you putting so much pressure on one guy? And the sideline guys are looking for other things as well. You literally, as a sideline guy, forward pass, and does your foot get back over the line? That's your only job.
Oh, there have been some real bad ones this year. Selwyn Cobbo
Oh,
being out.
bro.
Like, I was like, yeah, one job touch,
Yeah.
sideline touchy.
Like,
How can you
man,
miss these?
I don't know how many bloody Tigers games, but you probably remember it like Magic Round. But I sit on the sideline, like on the sideline, and when the ref doesn't get it onside, all the bloody loyal Titans members get him onside, touchy, like, like that's your job, bro. Like, get
Yeah,
that's your job. And like, if you get back one guy with the ruck, one guy just like overseeing everything, like the main officiator, and then you got your sideline guys. Why not? Why not try it again anyway? Like, what's the harm of trying it again?
yeah. I think two refs is a great idea because one of the criticisms I think about the bunker like, was really just the number of times that they would bring back. They would, the game would have moved on, and all of a sudden, the ref blows and being there. Oh, there was high contact. Like 3 plays ago. And you just get these unnecessary delays. And one of the criticisms would be, I guess, if the ref didn't miss all the foul plays, we wouldn't have to have the bunker, coming in, to hold players accountable. But having two refs just makes it so much easier, just way less pressure. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
Would
Yeah,
you? What would you say, Chris?
I would love to get rid of the penalty milking by a lot of players. If I could change a rule, I would
Oh yeah.
say if I feel like if you stay down after play, after you get tackled, and you're hoping that the bunker gives you a penalty for slightly high contact, I think they're allowed to review it, but you have to go off an HIA automatically for
Love
15
that.
minutes. That's it. I would stop people from just diving. You know, that one just frustrates me a lot because it's a tough game. We pretend to be tough, and then at the same time we also run and try and milk penalties. Nah, I don't like it. You can't have it both ways.
I love that. Even like a 5 minute, like you're being a naughty boy, you got a timeout for 5 minutes.
Yeah, actually, yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah. Also,
Would
yeah.
you fine
I was
them,
thinking.
or would you rather time off the field?
I think time off the field because that really matters to the team,
Yes,
and then
agreed.
coaches will stamp it out quickly. Uh, I think, for example, once again, Harry Grant. I think he makes a bit too much money to be worried about, a small fine, Obviously, at least he's rack up massively, and all of a sudden it's really affecting his hip
Yeah,
pocket.
compound or something. Yeah,
Yeah. It affects fringe players a lot more, the fines,
that's true.
than the players who make a lot more money and the
Yeah.
superstars, and it's often the superstars who get away with it. Again, Melbourne Storm.
That's why Craig Bellamy's one of the GOATs, mate. You didn't mention him in top coaches, but bloody hell, he's probably numero uno. But yeah, if it's not the ref rule, if it's not the extended bench rule, mate, yeah, I agree with you. I didn't even think about that. That's definitely was really prevalent throughout the 2025 season. I think I agree though. Maybe a 5 minute time off, get off the field. You've been a silly bugger. That hurts the team more, and then the boys will get pissed off at you too. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing, mate? You're letting down our team. And
Yeah, 5 more than 10 is better, actually. I like that. Yeah, the 5 is great. Yeah.
because obviously, like, a bit more distinctive. It's like it's enough to be annoying and like hurt the team, but it's not enough where it's gonna like hopefully not change the game too much. Maybe one try gets scored, but
Yeah.
that's enough, as you said, with the team aspect to hopefully deter these sort of things. Yeah, and I agree with the fine situation. Like guys who are maybe on 90,000 to 110,000, like as a beginning player, that's going to be more detrimental to the guy. Like, yeah, your top guns making over $1 million, definitely. I saw
Yeah,
the other
like,
day on one of the podcasts I listened to, it's like 420,000 is the average salary. So if 420,000 is the average salary, how much would you have to charge a fine like that? You reckon? Do you think on the spot?
yeah, well, that's
10
exactly
grand,
right. Like,
5 grand?
yeah, I don't know how punitive you have to be. Yeah, it's hard for me to put a dollar value on it. Like, but it just reminds me of a story from the NBA. The Golden State Warriors coach, Steve Kerr, he used to talk about being on the bench a lot, just being a fringe player, for the Bulls. And, whenever like Michael Jordan used to get into a thing, and then and the whole bench would have to come off, just to support him, but it'd be like an $8,000 fine. And he's like, He's like, I don't have that type of money to be walking off the bench, but you've got to support your bros. He's like, and every time I'd get up off my chair and just walk out onto the court, he's like, well, there goes 8K. And that was back in 1998.
That's crazy.
So,
It changed a lot back then.
yeah, well, yeah.
Well, now obviously with inflation, but like that's crazy for the boys. But for the boys,
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
so yeah, we'll see with the 21-man change. I don't think it will happen next year, but maybe when the Perth Bears come in, we can rediscuss that one. But definitely one to watch. But guys, if you have a rule change that you think's really good that we can discuss about or have your 2 cents on, please, guys, chuck it in. We'll rehash that next time we do one of these segments. So, Chris, you've always sort of mentioned to me in the green room about the Ashes series and how, let's say, lackluster it was. But the Pacific Nations, mate, I thought that was pretty good. Tonga let us down a little bit. There's some sketchy things we could talk about in regards to Eli Katoa. Man, that was so upsetting to hear that he's going to be out the entire year for Supercoach. No, for Melbourne Storm, and obviously his health.
Yeah, we're sad about that too. Mostly Supercoach first.
Yeah, proven gun gone. But no, definitely our thoughts and prayers with Eli Katoa. I think where to start with, may as well quickly talk about that. Do you know exactly what happened with that situation with the head knocks?
Yeah, I mean, only based on what I've read in the media, really. Yep. The idea that, he had 3 separate head knocks during that test against New Zealand, and he was allowed back on the field and he had seizures. And as a result, he's had to have emergency brain surgery. And, and like you said, unfortunately, he's not going to be playing next season, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's disappointed it's happened like that because, the NRL has made such great strides to really go, hey, we need to protect the head and things like that. And sometimes, but I also, sometimes, mistakes happen, unfortunately, and errors happen. And, as much as, we try to do the best we can, outliers occur, really. Like, yeah, what did you think?
Well, I think the issue is, off the replay, when I jumped onto that game, I think it was Tonga versus Samoa, Lehigh Hopewadi jumps up pre-game and whacks him in the head, and instantly there was signs of concussion. The whiplash of the neck, the eyes sort of rolling back, instant like puffing of the face, like probably maybe a bit dodgy, and then another head knock in the game, sort of like dusted it off, and then bang, the last one was the knockout blow. Pre-game, when you saw that in the green room before the kickoff started, I'm like, he's gone. Like, Eli Katoa's not playing. And then I see him in the line. I'm like, how's that even happen? It's kind of embarrassing, to be honest. Like, that one was so obviously head knock and like a concussion, or probably more sinister than that with that first shot. Yeah, it's a bad look for the game. And the people who are involved in the diagnosis or the screening of Ellie definitely need, probably pull their finger out a little bit. I think their due diligence and duty of care was not there. I'm no physio, I'm no doctor, I'm no specialist, but I saw one screenshot video rolled for 3 seconds. I'm like, concussion or head knock, should not be playing.
So, Ryan, I didn't watch the game, but are you telling me on the coverage at the pre-game?
Pre-game.
Like you saw it. Okay. Wow. Yeah.
Because I fully like this boom whiplash.
Wow. Okay. Because sometimes, I was thinking perhaps maybe just medical stuff just did not see that occur, at warm up, and and nobody reported it. But for you to say that it was on the live coverage and viewers saw it. Yeah.
Poor, mate.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Super poor.
Yeah.
But it was disappointing with the Ellie situation. Obviously, Melbourne Storm, and he's going to be out for the entire year for 2026, which is disappointing. But more importantly, we wish Ellie and his immediate family and his brothers at the Melbourne Storm all the best. And we're hoping he comes back healthy, ready to rock and roll for 2027, maybe sneaky World Cup 2026.
And because, Ryan, I must admit, I did not watch very much of the Ashes and Pacific Nations Cup. Would you like to explain to the listeners what happened, and would you like to, say how did you think it went? You like, which country did good? Who did you
Well,
like? Did
do
you
you want me
like?
to start?
How did you go, Dylan
Do you
Brown?
want me to
How did
start
he?
with the better comp or the worst comp first?
We'll go worst to good. Let's go worst
Okay,
first.
definitely the Ashes series. Personally, I think the Australians are over there probably jumping on a Kentucky tour and just having a good time. So
Yeah, and then they just played a bit of rugby on the side as well. Yep.
literally playing rugby league
Yeah,
on the
tackle's a
side,
bit clunky, eh?
bro. Game one, obviously with them being in England, it was at like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., or like midnight. No chance. Mr. Firehawker's gone to bed at 9 o'clock at the latest. So I didn't get to watch any game live. I'd either be watching a replay, which is disappointing, or I'd get the news ruined for me. And I don't really like looking at the game once I know the score, which means I have to watch the highlights, which I generally did for that type of contest. Game one, AJ Brimson did not play. What? Like, if he's not starting at fullback, he should be at 5'8". If he's not at 5'8", he should at least be accompanying Herbie Farnworth in the centres. Gobsmacked, speechless, all the above.
Still not a center. Still not a center, mate.
Still
As
not.
he said on his Instagram.
He's something, mate, but he was 18th man. That just baffled me. He's probably one of their best players besides Herbie Farnworth. For England, disappointing, obviously. Good news for you, good news for you overall, Chris. For West Tigers, Kai Pearce-Paul, which we'll be talking about in the reviews in future episodes for the West Tigers. But I thought Kai Pearce-Paul at an international level, he looked very solid, and he'd be a great addition in the second row, running off Jerome Luai's hip, more than likely. So yeah, Kai Pearce-Paul was good. Herbie Farnworth, solid, but Australia is just a different beast, mate. Like, their attack was clunky at the best of times and looked very disjointed. Again, it's like an all-star roster for the NBA. It's just get the best players and hopefully they stick. That's essentially what it was. Yeah, Herbie Farnworth just couldn't get any good ball. Like, it's just, what can you say? At the Dolphins, he had Isaiah Katoa give him in good space, and then he's versing, again, maybe some top-line players, maybe some developing players, maybe some second rowers like both of them, or depending. Okay. Australia's got their best overall team. You got both international. So you got both Broncos centers. Addo Carr was absolutely unbelievable. Back to prime Fox mode. Love to see that. Yeah, I thought that overall, Reece Walsh, Rocks and Diamonds, he's back to old standard there. But again, he's on Kentucky tour. He doesn't care. He was having a vibe. I thought Nathan Cleary was quiet, very quiet. Again, speculation and conversation continues regarding his rep career. Is he just a club player? But again, you have 12 other players on the field with Cleary. Cleary's just doing his role. So no harm, no foul in my eyes. I thought he steered the ship quite well. Great kicking game, as always. Yeah, Reece Walsh, Rocks and Diamonds. I thought Cameron Munster was very, very good in patches. Again, he's that yin to the yang to Cleary, where Cleary is very methodical. Munster's just eyes up football. I thought the forwards were pretty good overall. I thought Keon was dynamic. From memory, again, Rabbitohs are going to be paying big bickies to keep him. Again, we'll have that in the Rabbitohs review, but I'm hearing murmurs over $1 million for Keon. And if he continues his form at front row, don't hate it at all. I thought, who else was good? Paddy Carrigan, I thought he was very solid as always. Tino, again, strong through the middle. Now, Harry Grant, I thought he was a bit rocks and diamonds. I didn't think he was spectacular. And we'll get straight into the Golden Boot, which just got announced a couple of days ago. So it's December 3rd now. I think it got announced 2 days ago on December 11th or something similar. But Harry Grant, out of nowhere, won the Golden Boot Award. So last year, Keanu Keeney, I thought he was unreal by far, visually outstanding. He won. This year, before we dissect the Pac Championships, Dylan Brown, stats alone, mate, stats alone, absolutely unreal. And then the man of the series was Cameron Munster, but didn't get the Golden Boot. How does that work, Chris?
I don't know.
Like, I actually don't get it. Like, how did the guy get man of the series and then not get the golden boot? And I don't think he wasn't even shortlisted. Like, it actually didn't make sense. I'm just going to get this stat from random stats guy regarding the golden boot. Okay, yeah, I've got it here. So, Harry Grant, this was his stats for the Ashes. 1 try, 0 try assists, 116 tackles, 248 metres. Reece Walsh scored 4 tries, 0 assists, 13 tackle breaks, 460 metres. And then Dylan Brown, which we'll talk about shortly, got 3 tries, 7 assists, 19 tackle breaks, 476 metres. If I didn't say those names, you'd probably be leaning towards the third player, which was Dylan Brown with those 3 tries, 7 assists, 19 tackle breaks, and the 476 run meters. We could talk about the contests with Pac Nations and regarding to the level of competition. I thought Tonga was disappointing overall, but obviously New Zealand top tier, and their forward pack alone is absolutely unbelievable, which obviously helped him. But again, Tonga and Samoa had very, very, very good forward packs as well. Dylan Brown dissected them. He looked methodical. He was running off one-man show of Kieran Foran. Where was that all year, mate? Tell you what. And then Keanu Keeney getting injected back into the team in Game 2 and Game 3. I thought he was absolutely unbelievable. Big loss for the Titans, but again, we'll go through that in our mini pods soon. But again, Golden Boot winner. Yeah, Harry Grant. Don't get it. Don't get it. And I was looking at a quote this morning, actually, doing some research for the pod. And he was like, I'm honored to, I'm just paraphrasing you, obviously, but I'm honored to win this award. It's prestigious. So many good players before me have won this award. Disappointed that other deserving players didn't get this, however. Something along those lines, which is quite evident. And obviously, I'm follow a lot of other content creators on social media, and they're putting up polls in regards to who people think should win. Dylan Brown is like 85% plus on every single poll. So the people think that, the content creators think that, Harry Grant may be thinking that without saying that. Like, I'd feel pretty dirty if I was Dylan Brown. Thoughts?
Yeah. Look, it sounds like, even though he didn't deserve it, the people know who should have won Golden Boot. And from based on what Harry said, it sounds like he kind of know he feels a bit sheepish too about winning it. If you read between the lines,
Crazy. Like, yeah, I just don't get it. But we may as well.
yeah.
Okay, Ashes. I'll give it a grade. I'll probably give it a C. It was a pass. It was awesome.
Yeah.
That's like the first time in like 20 something years, maybe longer. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's great they've sort of re-engaged that, but Australia is so far ahead of England. I think the level of competition is just not there. I'd love to see Australia and New Zealand and Australia versus Tonga and Australia versus Samoa more often, but we can't get that all the time with the Pac Nations. And again, there's like a rotating roster. Can we expand it to 5 teams and somehow include England? Potentially. Logistics, obviously, is a different issue. A lot of things to discuss. We could talk about this for half an hour if we wanted to, but we will move on to the Pac Nations because I want to give the roses to Dylan Brown because he deserved it. After a horrendous year at the Parramatta Eels, signing that monster offer, which we've already dissected on Tackles and Tinnies in previous episodes, we were a bit hesitant, but we knew the upside, obviously, Chris, and this is what he can show, and this is what he can prove. If he's got good players, good culture, and people who believe in him, Dally M, 5'8" of the year potential. That's his upside.
Wow, big call, big call.
Well, he might be halfback. He might be somewhere else in between. He played centre for the Parramatta Eels at the end of the year, so which I actually don't hate. Low key, he's actually pretty good there.
He's very suited to playing in the centres too. Yeah.
But the New Zealand forward pack. So we're obviously fast forwarding a little bit to the World Cup and sort of obviously back and forth the Pac Nations. My God, they're going to be scary. Their forward pack of Fisher Harris, Leota, Tarpanay, Nakora, Xavier Willison. You got Jordan Ricky in the flanks there. I'm missing the other second row, which is really annoying me. But absolute gun. Yeah, scary, scary, scary team, New Zealand. Next year, they're going to get Jerome Hughes back instead of Kieran Foran. That's a bit of an upgrade, you could probably think there. And yeah, I thought Samoa, I thought they were very valiant in their efforts. No Stephen Crichton, their captain, their emotional leader. He wasn't there. But I thought Roger Tuivasa-Sheck at fullback, very admirable there. I thought he did a very good job. Just their halves, mate. You got your Rocks and Diamond at 5'8" from the Penrith Panthers. Names playing Blaze Talangi, 420 Blaze. He was only going to get better again. Jerome Luai, I thought he was solid without being excellent. Again, being a different role at halfback, where at the end he was playing 5'8" for the Tigers. I thought he was good. Again, emotional leader, provides that oomph, but a guy like Stephen Crichton, I think they definitely missed him. Their forward pack, I thought Junior Polo, he was almost their best player. I don't know if you saw many of the highlights, mate, but my God, he was good. He was like prime Jason Tamalolo. Like, that's how good he was. Yeah, he looked like he was 5 years younger. Like, go watch some highlights, mate. And if you guys haven't seen it, go watch the Samoan highlights. I thought Junior Polo were one of their best. But yeah, moving forward, you got Hammer coming in next year for the World Cup. Stephen Crichton's probably going to be back from injury, obviously. Tino, Faisal Malawi might be there. Payne Haas came across this year. Mate, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a 3-horse race, I reckon. If Tino goes across, big, big, big news. Obviously, you can put Hammer at fullback, Tuivasa-Sheck back to the wing with Brian To'o. Like, that's pretty crazy, man. It's going to be very, very scary. Tonga, they missed Hamole Olakawatu. He was injured, obviously. They lost Eli Katoa. I thought Lehigh was good without being excellent. That's the debate. He's very, solid without being fantastic. I like him more as a winger, Chris. I really do. I'm seeing more and more on him at fullback. And I was just saying to myself and my dad when we're upstairs watching the game, why don't they put Cooler at fullback? He just has more X factor. Cooler is that guy who's, you give him the ball, he's got so much strength in contact, and he's so fast off the mark after 20 to 40 meters. I think that's the upside play for Tonga next year. Will they do it? Probably not. Would that be the difference of them getting from the quarterfinals to the final? Maybe. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, in terms of that, I think it depends probably a lot this next year on what Manly do. If they decide to put Lehigh at fullback when Tommy's not there, but then I think that Tonga will just follow that as well. And if they don't, and they decide to put Cooler there, they may do so. But I agree with you. He's very electric. He rips teams apart in a very different way to Lehigh. Lehigh's very predictable, but very, very, dependable as well. And yeah, it's that X factor that Quill has.
For me, mate, it's literally Dylan Edwards and Lehigh are like the similar player. Is Dylan Edwards
actually,
good?
I would agree with that. Actually, yeah, that's
Dylan
actually
Edwards
really good.
Better. I'm not slating Dylan Edwards, but in terms of comp, very similar in terms of their play style. Is Dylan Edwards going to win you a series? Potentially. He's going to score you some tries. He's going to be really good in defense and talk. That's Dylan Edwards, obviously.
Yeah.
But would I rather Reece Walsh at fullback? Yes. I would rather Reece Walsh at fullback. And that's why Dylan Edwards did not play 1 minute for the Ashes series.
Yeah.
And I think Cooler. Again, I think Tonga, they've fallen back a bit. Isaiah Katoa, I thought he was quite quiet as well. Again, second-year syndrome in regards to a huge Pac Nations last year. Will he improve? Definitely. I thought their hooker situation when Sonny Luke out of nowhere, I thought he was quite good, quite a bit of attack. Because guys like Havili and stuff, they're pretty much a front rower playing at hooker. So don't really like that. Yeah, time will tell, mate. Time will tell. I think definitely they need a bit more X factor in their squad. They lacked points.
Yeah, dude, that was that was an amazing review actually of international rugby league actually.
Since September. Tackles Tinnies coming in.
But before we move on, rating or grading for the Pac Nations Cup?
Yeah. Okay. If I gave a C to the Ashes, I'd probably say B+. Tonga was a letdown. I thought when we got to Samoa, New Zealand, both their contests, they did play twice. Both games fantastic. They was in the A bracket for sure. And they're only going to get better. So
Yeah. Anyways, and I guess before we kind of just wrap up and everything like that, do you want to, since it's silly season, do you want to make some silly predictions for 2026?
Oh, yes, please. Please, please, please. So, we got here biggest riser and faller. Okay. For me personally, biggest riser, maybe some bias and over optimization. And I know my students are probably going to rip me when they see this, but the biggest riser is the mighty Gold Coast Titans. Yeah, they're going. I'll tell you what, mate. They can't come last, surely. They're not coming last.
Yeah.
I met Josh Hannay at the sports lunch the other week. I'm like, mate, I've been a Titans member almost my entire life, but 1 year. So I'm almost a foundation member. Yeah, almost a foundation member. Josh, do not let me down. He's like, didn't say my name. He's like, mate, don't worry, we've got you. I'm like, so I wanted to hear. But yes, Titans' biggest riser,
Yeah.
definitely. Who's your biggest riser?
Oh, look, I would love to say the Tigers, but the recent boardroom debacles that have occurred, my God, we're going to be talked about a whole lot on NRL 360 in 2026. Look, honestly, it has to be, in my view, it has to be the Rabbitohs, just the all-time injury woes that they had, and now they've just got an embarrassment of riches. They're, Jai Gray. We talked about this on Tackles and Tinnies, earlier this year, but, now they've got David Fafita as well coming in there, and if he can go, if he can really, really, work everything out, with his body and everything like that, yeah, they're going to be a top 8 team for sure.
Well, mate, it's been 3 years in a row now with the Rabbitohs of them being injured without diving too much into it because we're going to do our mini pods there. Who's your projected fullback for the Rabbitohs?
Oh, I think it's Jay Gray. I think he's so good. He's too good to be a utility on the bench. You just can't do that. And if you do that, he'll leave. Like especially just once again, if Jareem Buller leaves us, we're gonna be throwing big money. Lots of teams are gonna be throwing big money at him. He's such a great player.
I believe he just resigned.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. Big money contract.
Well, therefore he has to.
But yeah.
Well, look, yeah. Well, as you're looking for it, yeah. No, well, yeah. Well, if he signed big money, they clearly think he's going to be their fullback, and and Latrell, he can play anywhere. Actually, yeah. I don't want to go too much into it, but poor Talis Duncan, he just wants to play second row and lock in. You get these, David comes in, Cam Murray's there, now he wants to play. So he's like, okay, I'll play center. And then, Latrell was like, okay, I've got to play that left center now. So there's no space for Talis Duncan.
Oh, mate, he's starting second row, Talis Duncan.
Yes.
We won't ruin that. We'll keep our little sneaky secrets there. But it's saying 2027, I believe.
Yep. Okay. Very good. Well done, Jai Gray. Get that cash.
Yeah.
Who do you think will be the biggest faller this year? Who do you think is going to underperform this year? Oh. I know this is going to bite us all on the butt at the end of next year when we're all completely wrong. Who do you think?
Clip us up. All right. I'll have a quick look at the ladder.
Okay, whilst you're looking at it then, I'll tell you mine.
Yeah.
I think it probably might be the Raiders, really.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking the same thing.
Like, I think, Jamal Fogarty gone, new halfback. There might be a little bit of second-year syndrome. I recall a few of their wins last year just came from these amazing last-minute, tries. Round 5 against the Sharkies. I think Seb Chris had like that, great team try. I can't remember how it happened. Anyways, like pretty much every player touched the ball.
That was
from
unreal.
left to right. Yeah, exactly right. And it may be hard to replicate that this year. Like, I still think they're going to be a top 8 team for sure. It's just that, in terms of the biggest fall, they may drop from 1 to maybe 6 or something like that. Yeah. So that's what I think.
Yeah, Raiders, they're probably going to be a top 8 team still, you'd think, but you don't see them jumping. Yeah, he won't be first next year. Like, Jamal Fogarty's obviously awesome. It's just such a variable, man. Like, halfback's such a pivotal position. Does Sanders or Kobe Black keep them a ship? Like, you'd think everyone else in their roster is getting better besides, like, some of their older fellas, but, like, that's minimal. Very, very
Yeah,
much.
yeah, and and they've literally, and them and the Broncos, they have the best forward pack, in the entire NRL competition, for sure.
Cowboys, wooden spoon, thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. Actually, I think that if they can just defend a little bit better than last year, they've got so much attack, and they win games based just because they can just outscore opposition teams. I can't see them winning the wooden spoon next year at all.
Right. Spoon projection then. Drag.
Oh, oh,
This is hard, bro.
I don't want to do this
This is
one.
hard.
Can we do who wins the grand final instead?
Oh.
People are gonna hate us.
I don't think Newcastle can be as bad as they were. I don't think they're coming last.
No, they had just an awful season last year. Just nothing went right for them.
Mate, there's just a clump of teams who could just... They're one injury away from like falling off a cliff, or like if you're healthy, you're borderline top 8. Like all these teams have this upside, which is unreal. If you want transparency through the league, Knights, I think they're going to be better. Ponga, he had like the worst season of his career. You got Dylan Brown, Fletcher Sharp coming back. I think they're going to be better. Dragons, I think Dragons.
Yeah, that's what I was going to think. I'm so sorry, Dargan fans. If we're just going to say you guys. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong,
mate. Money man to a Pelosi. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like Gutho's looking pretty slow, so fullback's such a pivotal position. Like you got Grant Atkinson going there. He's playing halfback. Flanagan's still playing in the halves. King Tonga's maybe get a sniff, but Kyle Flanagan's never going to get dropped because of his dad's there. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Yeah, I'm going to say I'm putting money on it. Dragons wooden spoon. Raiders biggest faller. Titans biggest riser. And my projection and prediction for the Broncos to be the number 1 team with the grand final.
Oh, I think it's the Panthers. Casey McLean, Tommy Jenkins, Blaze, they're all a year older.
True.
It's a very good backline. The only issue is, Isaac Tungo, if he can regain some of the form that he had a few years ago, it's very hard to beat, and that forward pack is always going to be good,
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I think,
So grand final prediction then, who you got?
Oh, I reckon Panthers versus Broncos, Cleary to do Cleary things. just to cause more trauma to the Bronx.
That's crazy. So I got ChatGPT to get their team of the year, and we'll give a bit of cap of fact prediction here, Chris. So ChatGPT has predicted the team of the year, the fullback being Reece Walsh. Cap or fact?
Fact. Sorry. Fact. Look, I just got my lingos mixed up. Facts.
You and Gary exactly the same, mate. Who's your contender? So you got Walshy being the winner there. Who would be probably the primary contender for him?
Oh, I reckon it'll be somebody like, just because Tedesco? I feel Dally is just being Tedesco, somebody like a Will Kennedy, Jai Gray or something like that. No, it's just like isn't like my thing with like the team of the year, right? It's just that it's people who just don't get injured and just dependable and they just always play right. That's how like you sometimes you get like random people who aren't always necessarily the best, like they don't have the best, but like hey, they're just great players. So I think Will Kennedy was like leading it like 10 rounds in, and so it was like Jai Gray last year or this year. Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
I'm going to say fact, definitely fact, Reece Walsh. Now, wingers, this is Smokey, and he's probably not even guaranteed a spot, but Cobbo, which I don't mind, is going to be outside Herbie Farmworth, and Brian To'o. Cap or fact?
Ooh, hard for Cobbo, I think. I don't know. Like you said, he might have not even started, really. But Brian To'o, I'd say, definitely facts, for sure.
Yeah. Who's your main contender then? Like you got your Coates. Lomax is obviously not there anymore, so it takes a position away.
Yeah. I'll say Coates, really. Wingers are just not him up. I just can't think of any other wingers at the moment. Yeah.
Well, it's like who's your look at the team like Raiders? They're probably haven't going to got like Savage. He's not going to be there. Storm, you got Coates. Bulldogs, they got like sort of like younger fellas.
Yeah.
Broncos, they're reliable about being
Lehigh, maybe, or
Yeah.
Lehigh Hopewadi or something like that.
Ronnie Walmatala's not there anymore. Maybe Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, potentially.
Yeah.
Marky Mark, potentially. Yeah, Mark. I reckon Mark. I reckon Bruce is going to have a very, very good year. I'm going to say Mark and Brian Tottle.
Yeah.
Okay. Next position, we have got centre. I've got Crichton and Herbie Farmworth. Cap or fact?
Yeah, facts. There's
Lock
not
and
much
load.
more to be said.
What is that, 3 or 4 years in a row now that they're going to win it?
Yeah. It's the same until it's not the same. Yeah.
Yeah,
5'8".
1A.
Yeah, we'll move to 5'8", I reckon.
Well, ChatGPT reckons Dylan Brown, 5'8" of the year. Cap or fact?
Oh, dude, Cap. No way. No way.
All right, who you got? Who's
Look, something like Munster. Can I say Munster? I just look until Dylan Brown, until I see it with my eyes. It's just such a brave prediction by ChatGPT. I know you talked about I know you talked about how awesome he was for New Zealand, but until I see it, I see the Knights clicking. Yeah,
he hasn't got that New Zealand 4-pack helping him out though. That's the issue. So I think main contenders would obviously be Sammy Walker, depending he plays 5'8". You've obviously got Munster, Ethan Strange could go back to back. Jerome Luai potentially, maybe a sniff at AJ Brimson potentially. That's probably
Ezra
the
Mam.
main guys. Yeah, Ezra Mam. Yeah, they're probably the main guys. Nico Hines, if he gets shifted to 5'8", probably worthwhile doing. My nemesis.
Well, Nico Hines being ChatGPT halfback of the year, cap or fact, then I think we know what your answer is.
I'm going to say it, and it's going to be controversial, and I'm going to say fact.
Okay.
Yeah. Reason being, and you said it just before, these are the guys who don't get injured. Cleary is obviously the GOAT. He's the best one.
Yeah.
But there's not many two other guys who would probably take his spot. Sharks win games, and he doesn't get injured. Touch wood.
Yeah.
So
I think the other contender would be Jerome Hughes if he doesn't get injured.
And he's quite injury prone as well in the past couple of years.
Exactly right.
Going off that analysis alone, I go Nico Hines. So I'm going to say ChatGPT, you've done a good job there, mate. And that'll be fact. Controversial. Till we get to Supercoach, and then you're never going to pick again. Then I'd pick him in twice. Who knows? Time will tell. Props, ChatGPT is projected that Payne Haas and James Fisher-Harris. Cap or fact?
Oh, yes, to Payne Haas. James Fisher-Harris, he's in his back end of his career. I don't agree with that. I think it's going to be Terrell May. I think he's going to get his flowers next year.
I will, Chris. I'm going to say one thing, mate. I'm going to go back to Pack Nations. Terrell May did not get many minutes, but he also looked extremely slow, very plotter-like. He looked a bit too heavy, in my opinion. I think he needs to lose some kilos moving forward. If he's the same playing weight. Yeah, I thought he looked very slow. But yes, Terrell May, great shout. Love that. Any other contenders we can think of?
Paddy Carrigan.
Yep. Tino, if he's front row.
Yeah, Tino. Yep.
Stefano, I thought he was very good in the back end of the year last year.
Yeah, no, he wasn't bad at all, actually. Yeah.
So let's have a look. Who you got? Payne Haas and who?
I reckon Terrell.
Yeah. I reckon.
At the end of the year, I think it's sometimes I also think it's just been a long season. He played so many minutes last year, but it's this year, for the Tigers, but look, I think he doesn't get I don't think he gets the credit because the Tigers we bottom half team. If we can kind of do a little bit better this year, I think he'll get his plaudits. Yeah. Hooker, Harry Grant, cap or fact? I think it's
That's
fact.
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
He's just head and shoulders above everybody else. Blake Brayley had a, great year this year, and I think he's only going to get better. I think the Sharks are only going to get better actually next year as well. I'm very excited for them. Yeah. Second rowers, ChatGPT has Viliami Kikau and David Fafita.
Don't hate the kick out shout. Don't hate the Fafita shout. Very smoky. However, no Eli Katoa. It's wide open this year for at least one spot. Who else do you reckon could be contenders?
Hudson Young.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's the only one I can think of at the moment.
You've got Britton Nicola potentially.
Yeah, if he doesn't get suspended next year.
Angus Crichton. I thought Angus Crichton,
Yep.
I didn't say this in the Pack Nations review, but he was probably Australia's one of their best games, at least games 1 and 2. I thought he was unbelievable. Yeah, that's pretty much main
Leka
guys.
Hamasima. Hamasima? I think he could. If he has a big year next year, that would be, he's so exciting. I really, really like him. Yeah.
Homole Lakawatu, if he can get healthy.
Yep.
He has that upside, definitely. So who you got? What's your prediction?
Oh, look, I'll just say, just because I said it, I'll say it's a Leka, and I'll say it's Hudson Young, really. Yep.
Okay, I'm putting a caveat here. I'm going to validate the day for feeder claim if he starts. If he does not start, that's rescinded straight away. I've caveated that one. Don't hate the kick out shout. Pretty durable. And he plays in a winning team. I think that's important.
Yep.
And obviously has that attacking upside. He's unreal there. Don't also hate the Hudson Young shout. So if Dave Fafita's not starting, Hudson Young in, I kind of like the kick out shout. Lock. ChatGPT has predicted that Isaiah Yeo will be the ChatGPT lock of the year. Cap or fact?
Yeah, I would say fact as well. It's he's the best lock in the game.
There is one contender. Cameron Murray is back.
Yeah, true. He's another. Yeah. If Rabbits have a good year, definitely could take it.
Patrick Carrigan could be there. He's obviously very solid. You got Tino. I hope he plays front row and not lock.
Ruben Cotter.
Yeah, Cotter.
He's always great.
Yep. Plenty of talented fellas out there. Yeah. Victor Radley, smoky, but he's pretty good as well. I'll tell you another guy for front row we didn't talk about. Nafahu White.
That's exactly who I was thinking in my mind, actually.
Yeah.
The moment you said that,
yeah,
he had a great year. He's so young and he's only going to get better. Yeah.
I actually think in my prop prediction, I'm going to say Payne Haas and Nafahu White. They're my prop. And
yep. That's fair.
Yep. And then lock, safe bets, Isaiah Yeo. But I want the comeback story. We want the narrative. We want the redemption story for the Rabbitohs. Morgo, I know you're going to like it. Cameron Murray.
Fine.
Yep. Now, this one's wild. ChatGPT has predicted the Dally M medal winner to be Dylan Brown. That is just crazy. That's cap. That's absolute cap.
I would love to see it, but I would love to see it. What a redemption story. We're talking about redemption stories. Imagine if he comes back and just catapults the Knights. Oh, that'd be great. Yep.
Who's your main guy? So again, Origin resting is going to take into consideration, injury prone, team form, too many gun players in the team. Who you got?
Oh, look, I think I have as Reece Walsh. I know it was just I know it was a purple patch, but he just looks so much better than everybody else at the moment. It's so hard to go against him. Yeah.
And the Broncos saying that going this year, they're getting better.
Yeah.
Yep, I don't mind the Reece Walsh shout. Again, he's just, if he gets the ball, and again, we talked about it time and time again. When Reynolds isn't there, he plays better. Reynolds went off the field in the grand final. They came back and won. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think I really believe in the theory. Yeah. Too many chefs, not enough cooks, at the Broncos. Yeah.
Yep. Obviously, got guys like James Tedesco. The Roosters should be better this year, arguably with DCE going in. Healthy Sam Walker from the start of the year. Nafahu White's obviously back. Tedesco could obviously go back to back. Any other guys? Latrell Mitchell, too injury prone, but has that upside. Maybe a guy like absolute smoky here, but Izzy Katoa from the Dolphins.
Yeah.
Great attacking upside.
Yeah, he never gets injured as well. Yeah. It could be. It could be Katoa. It really could be. Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you had to chuck $5 on Izzy Katoa, not a bad shout. Melbourne Storm, Jerome Hughes potentially.
Yep. He's won it in the past before. He could win it again.
Yeah, that's probably Nico Hines. Is there a chance?
Yep. Oh, truthfully, I don't think so. Only because of the fact that I just feel that Braden Trindle just gets so much of the ball now as well. Like, I think that, I think that Nico's been such a great team player and he's shared the ball so much this year. And I think they're going to do a lot more of that next year. Again, it's a good formula. Also with Blake Browley as well, they're going to let him run through a lot more. So he's going to control the team a little bit less, But anyways, I'm pleased for Nico.
Yep. There's two other Smokies. I don't mind either. Smoky number one is Keanu Keaney. If he can stay healthy, thing about Jai Gray for the Rabbitohs, very, very good. He was leading the Dally M's at that stage. Very similar player. So obviously, point proven that archetype gets a lot of upside and flashy plays, which obviously looks good for the voting purposes. Smoky number two from the same team, Jaden Campbell.
Yep,
he's out and out.
I like them both.
Their best player, overall player. If Keanu Keaney can boost the Titans up the rankings, and obviously that's the caveat, the Titans have to make the top 8 for one of those boys to either win the Dally M. But in terms of the flair and the type of game that looks flashy for a Dally M win, Keanu Keaney and Jaden Campbell both have that upside. Health pending.
Yep.
Which is a big if.
Yeah, I like that.
Yep. Grand final prediction. I already gave mine. Broncos, Panthers. Who have you got?
Yeah, I said Panthers, Broncos.
Yep. Perfect. Same but different. And we said our biggest risers and fallers. I said that the biggest riser is the Gold Coast Titans and the biggest faller was the Canberra Raiders, potentially Cowboys for Wooden Spoon. And I think Broncos will get the minor premiership. Bulldogs potentially there as well. Who have you got your minor premiers? I don't think you said that one.
Oh, no. Oh, so Panthers. Yeah. I just think they're too good next year. I just think they're so good. Yeah.
Going to be very, very, very hard to beat. Well, guys, that's Tackles and Tinnies episode 1, technically, for the review / preview for 2025-2026. Guys, unreal. 90 minutes of recording. I've missed this so much. I've been off work for a week and the teacher voice is letting me down. I'm already losing my voice. But in the coming days and weeks, we'll be releasing our mini pod, so please stay tuned for that. We're going to go through every single team, similar sort of formatting in regards to where they've ranked from last year, where they're heading towards, key players in terms of signings, losses, smoky players to start, what went good, what went bad. That's the sort of vibe we're looking at for each team review. We're going to be filming that on Tuesday, so I'll try to pump some of them out Wednesday, Thursday next week, and then we'll be filming similar time on Saturday / Sunday next week. So yeah, guys, keep your eyes posted. Might be a nice little Christmas present for you guys. But we want your engagement, particularly now that you know that we're doing these team reviews. Give us your comments in the comments below in either Spotify, Apple Pod, or via Shorts or Instagram, TikTok. We want to hear what you guys think about your team for 2025 and where you think your team's going to be for 2026. And we want to hear about what you guys think about the rule changes or potential rule changes, either year 2026 or 2027. Definitely, I'm liking the ruck infringement, what we were saying before, and extended bench. Definitely my two. Chris, any last words, mate?
No. I'm excited. I know it's only 2025, so I'm excited for next year. Excited.
100%.
For rugby again.
Super Coach is around the corner. It's out in 4 days. Might do an emergency podcast. Team pickup.
I think we can do that. I think we can do that.
Yeah. I reckon we might be a 5-hour podcast. So strap in. All right, guys. We love you. Thank you very much. See you guys later.
Sayonara, friends.